All right, Mr. Elon Musk, who, of course, there was a cyber attack on X today.
There was a massive cyber attack to try to bring down the X system with IP addresses originating in the Ukraine area.
Oh, well, so that's your suspicion. Is the website, is the internet up? Is it up yet? Okay. But I just was looking back. Shots were fired at a Tesla dealership in Oregon. Various nonviolent...
Shots fired, not a metaphor.
Shots fired, yes. Downtown New York, March, your stock is way down. You've been criticized left and right.
But look on the right side.
Yes, I'm an optimist.
But besides that,
it's tough sledding.
Yeah, it is tough sledding. But I think we're doing the right thing here. The tremendous amount of waste and fraud in the government. Part of the government, you saw a lot of that, and it's been. If you look at the Inspector General reports and the Government Accountability Office, there have been many audits that have pointed out that there's a tremendous amount of waste and fraud in the government. In fact, there was a report issued by the GAO, the Government Accountability Office, last year. So during the Biden administration, which estimated the federal government fraud to be $500 billion. So just to be clear, that's not a Trump administration thing, that's a Biden administration thing. So all we're trying to do is get that number down to a much smaller figure, save money for the American taxpayer, stop money being spent on things that I think very few taxpayers would agree make sense. Surgeries, or why are we spending money? Why are American tax dollars being spent on this? And the president's gone through a long list of things. Why are 20 million people who are definitely dead marked as alive in the Social Security database? Why were hundreds of dollars of Small Business Administration loans were given out to people aged 11 and under, according to the Social Security? I mean, these must be some very enterprising 8-year-olds,
And strong 150-year-olds.
Yes, exactly. As the president said, we have almost number of people marked as alive who are 160. He didn't know the country was that healthy.
Yes. So how do you do it? Okay, how big your team?
Yeah.
Where'd you most of them from? And what is it that makes you choose, the Social Security or USAID? How does it work? Let the public know, please.
Right. Well, we just basically follow the money. We look at the president's executive orders, and we also just follow the money. So we started looking closely at USAID because they were completely violating the president's executive orders to suspend foreign aid. What in our is a lot of corruption. So what we go there is just a tremendous amount of money being sent to non-governmental organizations. But actually, this, by the way, is I think one of the biggest sources of fraud in the world is government-funded non-governmental organizations. This is a gigantic fraud loophole where they can give money to an NGO, and then there are no controls over that NGO. So they've given billions of dollars, in fact, we estimate tens of billions of dollars to NGOs that are essentially scams. I'm trying to put a stop to that, so.
I want to interrupt, but Secretary of State Rubio has just come out, I think he tweeted today, he has accepted over 80% of your recommendations to shut down in USAID.
Right.
So your review and analysis was spot on.
Yes. So I think when people criticize, say, what DOGE is doing, we say, well, which part specifically? Because we put all of the actions of the team on the DOGE.gov website and on the DOGE handle on X. So we post the receipts. So it's like this action taken. So when we get criticism, we say, of what you disagree with? Which cost saving do you disagree with? And then people usually can't think of any.
No.
So
line
by line.
Which is quite remarkable.
Right. And so, and with respect to the Treasury, for example, the two recommendations we suggested, which have now been implemented, was that any payments going out of the Treasury, especially the Treasury's main payment computer, which is called PAM, things like a payments account manager or something like that, but it's like almost $5 trillion a year, so about $1 billion an hour, that the payments be coded with the congressional appropriation, and that there be an explanation for the payment. Very basic stuff. And just doing, we estimate, will save $100 billion a year.
You're not really, let me see if I get this right, particularly with Social Security, you're not really changing policy.
No,
yes. You're auditing to make sure that, from point A, get point B, and that's where it's supposed to get to. In some cases, it doesn't get there, or in some cases, it may go over there. But that's it's not a policy exercise. You're not changing laws. You're just doing what any business would do in a profit.
I think we're really what we're adding here is caring and competence, and there's a massive amount of fraud of basically people submitting Social Security numbers for Social Security benefits, unemployment, small business administration loans, and medical, where they've stolen somebody else's number, and we're trying to put a stop to all of that. And that's estimated to be on the order of 10% of federal expenditures, which is half a dollar.
It's a huge number.
Yeah.
You're working with the heads. You're working with the cabinet secretaries.
Yes.
I saw Howard Lutnick was on TV yesterday saying you were partnering with them. Is that fair?
Yeah, what we do in consultation with the cabinets and with their departments. So we're really trying to sort of refer to ourselves as support.
Mm-hmm.
We're really get a handle on things. Because what actually happens here is you've got this sort of vast federal, and then you've got a very thin layer on top of the politically, and what tends to happen is that the bureaucracy, frankly, is in control, and they largely ignore the politically appointed people.
Why should the bureaucracy?
I'm sure you must have seen.
I've lived with this twice. I worked for Reagan many years ago, and I worked for Trump in the first term.
Yeah.
It's like it's a permanently liberal bureaucracy.
Yes, very much so.
And it's not necessarily enforces or implements presidential policy.
They don't. In fact, they try their best to thwart presidential policy. So the president is the representative of the people. If the president things implemented as a reflection of the will of the people, then what we have is not a democracy, we have a bureaucracy. We have rule of the bureau, not rule of the people. And that's what we're trying to defeat here is the bureaucracy and have rule of the people. The bureaucracy is overwhelmingly Democrat. So Washington was 92.5%, I believe, voted for Kamala. So this is overwhelmingly a deep blue situation.
How do you pick your next targeted agency or department?
Well, we're trying to act across all departments, so it's not just one department at a time.
Are you in all of them now? All of them?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh.
We're trying to govern more across the board, so yeah.
How big's your?
We're a little over 100 at this point.
100.
Get to 200.
You're going to get to 200.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're recruiting more or less.
Basically, it's software people, information security, software, finance. It's basically, finance and technology. And frankly, I can't believe you're doing this. It's kind of bizarre. But I kind of think about this in budget, and it's a true deficit. It keeps growing. Our interest payments are our Defense Department budget. That's I think was the wake-up call for me, was looking at seeing that the interest payments to the national exceeded the Defense Department budget. And that was only growing over time, which meant if we didn't do something about this, then there won't be any for anything. We'll just be servicing debt.
And you know how to read a statement, and you know how to read a sheet. You've had some business experience. I'm kidding, but you know about this.
Yeah, really, America to go bankrupt.
So it's a call to action. You're hearing a call to action.
Yeah.
You giving up your stuff? What do you have other businesses?
With great difficulty.
But you're saying.
I'm just here trying to make government more efficient, eliminate waste, and so far we're making good progress, actually. So our savings at this point exceed $4 billion a day. Mm-hmm. So it's very significant.
You think you'll wind up getting to $1 trillion?
Yeah.
Of savings?
Unless we're $1 trillion of savings.
And that stuff can be translated. We've been talking, we had Russell, B director on earlier, through very rescission authority, impoundment authority. But I believe you said it earlier, it's an audit that will not gather on shelves. This is actually going to wind up with real savings, bend the spending baseline down.
Yeah. There have been many good audits, like I said, by inspector generals and by government, and they just haven't been implemented. Nothing's been done. I think the GAO, 17 million dead people in the Social Security database several years ago. It's now 20 million, but nobody did anything about it. I think you can sort of the complaint minimization, optimization. Basically, if the government sends money out to whether it's wasteful or fraudulent, nobody complains if they receive money, but they do complain if they don't money. People that complain the loudest are the ones receiving the fraudulent money.
And you're on it.
Yeah. I mean, so the goal with waste and fraud. That's what I'm here for. We're making good progress.
Yes,
so,
you're going to go another year?
Yeah, I think so.
Final report, middle of next year?
Well, we're just getting things done as opposed to writing a report. Like say, reports don't mean anything. You got to take action.
Yes.
So the waste report in spending, which is that's like the big one to eliminate. $500 billion, maybe $6 billion a year. That is also a mechanism by which the Democrats attract and retain illegal immigrants by essentially paying them to come here, and then turning them into voters.
Yes.
So this is why the Democrats are so upset at this situation, because they're losing, if we turn off this gigantic money, then they will leave and they will lose voters.
But you have President's support. He said so again yesterday. He completely supports your operation.
Yeah, well, thanks. But without the President's support, we couldn't make any progress here. But yeah, you'll see the biggest outcry is from those who are, they don't want the waste report to be off, because it is a gigantic magnet to illegal immigrants and have them stay in the country. And I mean, you see some of the crazy where FEMA, which is meant, FEMA is an agency that's meant to Americans in distress. And a bunch of their money was being sent to poor luxury hotels in New York for illegal immigrants. And that was happening even after the president was elected, after he signed an executive order saying that needs to. So we actually made sure that money did stop going, because obviously it's outrageous that American taxpayer money is spent on luxury hotels for illegals. But you have to say, why was that being done? It was because the Democrats are import voters, basically.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, and that's also why there's no voter ID needed in California, New York State. You're not allowed to show voter ID. Doesn't that seem insane?
Insane.
Yeah.
I say that as a New Yorker. It's insane.
Yeah, insane.
And it violates the entire Constitution and the principles behind it. Producers are yelling at me to get out. I don't want to end this interview because it's too much fun.
Yeah.
Can I just ask you one thing, 20 seconds? Nothing to do with DOGE. Can you rescue the...
Back in a few weeks.
There's not near enough attention being paid to this. You're going to get him back?
We're going to get him back.
God bless.
Thank you.
For all your service, Elon Musk. We appreciate it very much. Take care.
Thank you.